Right, so, hello there. I've actually got a bunch of stuff done, so let's get into this devlog. Now, first things first, we've got cell information. This is where I can actually get information of a cell by just clicking on it with the cursor, right? I mean, it's very handy stuff, and I think it's quite neat. Okay then, so, back with another update, okay? So right now, we've got everything working here, right? And also I've made sure that the camera's smooth and that looks good, okay? But that's not the main point of this little clip. Here, I want to show you what I've been working on so far, and well, we've actually got information about things now. I believe I've already shown this part here, but now we can actually see what's being held in each cell. So if I click on this, I can have NPC, and bam, I can actually see the information on this. And there we go, an NPC, okay? Sick. And then we go back, it just goes back on this. The only problem is when you go onto like an actual cell like this, you have to press back twice. That's a non-issue for now. Close just closes automatically. Yeah, I have no idea why does this do this? Why do I have to click back twice with enough? Never mind. Anyways, with this, I can actually now basically start getting up interactions with things and make the player queue up turns. Eventually, hopefully, I need to get that done next. Please, please, please. But if we were to just skip forward a little bit, let's have a look at this. Now this cell here should show, yep, a bunch of NPCs, which, well, that already worked anyways. And I can go back, yep. Okay, this all works pretty well, surprisingly enough. Now, I did have an issue with the selection where it selected twice, but that's because the mouse clicked twice. Because for some reason it decided, hey, let's just also register the release event of the mouse as well on a click event. For some reason it does that, which can be handy in some circumstances, but not right now. Anyways, the next few things I did, I kind of did forget to update the project a bit, you know, by making videos. So we're gonna just lump these next few things together. So we've got a new way to represent objects. This was by just attaching some textures to some sprite, I guess. I think it was like that. I don't know, because I've changed it a bit now. I've kind of recorded this a bit later. And then we've also got a selection image as well, which gives you a lot more information. Well, not a lot more information, just a handy visual feature. And also the player can queue turns as well. This is very helpful for when you want to move to a place and then move to another place after that. And you can put on the auto turn feature. Alright then, so as you can see here, the world looks quite a bit different than what it used to before, right? I've done quite a lot of things, and I kind of forgot to, you know, record all the in-between scenes of these. So, first things first, right? We can actually see the UI panel after clicking, and back actually just goes back instead of just like clicking on the things twice. And we also have move as well. You can see here turn queued. That's because I put at the start of the game the player should move over here. Because if I just press space, then the player just starts queuing automatically. We can also see the camera snapping in action. Like here, oh yeah, this is beautiful. I like this. Also some camera lerping as well, or interpolation. One of those things, because it was way too choppy before. And then where we just, yep, there we go. And then we also have an auto cue feature where I don't need to press space at all you do is press C, and then there we go. The player moves there, right? And then now I can just go back to player, move around, yada yada. I can also queue a turn there, but then I can also break out of that queue. Also, these guys still path over here, but after they have finished pathing, they just sort of randomly walk afterwards, which I think is kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, this is actually a decent enough system. You can see the boxes have changed in color because I've just set them to whatever the camera selection thing is right now. And yeah, boxes still show absolutely nothing. You can't move to the box yet because, well, the pathfinder just sees it as like an obstacle, so you can't actually move there. Interesting thing is that if I try and move there, it does actually queue that up, but it just sort of yeah, it just does that. But that's not really that bad. This guy's not moving because I just set like a random NPC to just be idle, which I think this perfectly showcases how much has been done so far. And yeah. And now, finally, we've got interactions. Essentially, there are going to be a certain number of interactions that can be done, and you can also move to interactable objects as well. We've got a working prototype for this, where essentially, I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually remember what this is supposed to represent. I think it's supposed to represent the AI agents being able to like go to interactable objects as well. I also got a bit sidetracked during this process because I simplified the turn system once again, and then I changed how the behaviors are done by putting them into objective changes or something like that. Alright then, so I have actually worked on this a little bit more now, and I can safely say that I have absolutely brutalized how the player works. So the the player doesn't move anymore. Can't even queue up turns because the player doesn't even move. But what I can safely say is that I have finally made the turn system for everything way better now. As you can see here, some of these things actually pass, some of these things are just randomly moving. They also change objectives depending on how they're, I don't know, depending on other factors. Like for example, these guys here, right, they're randomly moving. These guys are pathing over here. These guys are randomly moving here. And then they just sort of like stay for a turn because they're idle, then they decide, hey, I want to move again. So they just move randomly again, right? Now these guys over here, they are, yeah, as soon as they get over here, they're just going to start randomly moving around. Because, well, that's how their behavior is. And now all I need to do is just reconnect the player up to some turn script again. And yeah, we should be golden. I also fixed up a little memory leak that was happening because I wasn't registering children into the actual tree scene, which in Godot, if you close it without registering the children, then it just sort of does a memory leak. It's not that bad for an actual game. Not an actual game. It's not so bad for a game with one scene, but if I had multiple scenes, then that would have been really bad, in fact. So I just decided to register everything and then make it not visible. This is only an issue because I had an object pool at this point in time. And now we are finally onto the main part of this, which is dialogue interactions. Now, for now, it will only work with the player on interactable objects, but it does work. Essentially, what is this supposed to represent? Now we're finally onto the dialogue. This is the only interaction that we're going to be able to support for now, because it was pretty easy to implement, but it's like a proof of concept basically. And this system essentially just, if you want to go interact with an object, then it checks if you're nearby the object. If you're not nearby it, then it decides, hey, you need a path to this, then you have a pathing turn on it. Then it will also queue up an interaction turn, which then it interacts with the object. Pretty simple stuff. However, an issue that I did encounter was that you can spam it, which is not so good for memory performance, and that I'll fix that later. The code base was very messy, so I had to clean that all up because there was a lot of like spaghetti code in there and all that. So cleaned it up, and now it's really easy to add things now. And then we can finally get onto the actual dialogue, which is the only interaction option right now, as I stated earlier. But it opens with another panel for text, and I think it looks quite good because it's like a little typewriter effect that you'd usually see in games. Alright then, so I finally finished up the interaction system, right? So, essentially, the only things that we can interact with right now are the boxes. But then, when we interact with the boxes, let's do this turn by turn, Okay, we're going to path towards the boxes, and then we get to the box, and then we still got turn queued, but there's a different turn. And when I go into this next turn, there we go. We've got dialogue. You see, that's like some sort of cool system. I can close the dialogue like that, or I could instead just like move away and the dialogue closes. And I think that's pretty neat. So, now that I've finally fixed the main issues that I've faced throughout this entire process so far, I can actually finally get to work on implementing everything that I need to do, right? So, the next steps are actors need to interact with each other, right? I'm gonna make them able to speak to each other and all that, because that'll be kind of neat, and they're gonna be gaining opinions of each other based on what they speak to each other, right? If you've ever played RimWorld, there would be something similar like that, right? Where they have opinions of everyone else, they have moods that dictate how they're gonna be talking to each other. We're also gonna be having stats, so stats like health, charisma, strength, all that stuff. You know, pretty simple stuff. And then adding in extra interaction options, which do involve like attacking other players, actors, other interactions like that. What other interactions would there be? What, giving an item away? That'll be interaction, I guess. Breaking, stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, that's a lot more advanced functionality that I can actually finally do because I've finally fixed the main issues of this code base. Thank you for making this far into the video. If you enjoyed that, then please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to me, because that would help me out quite a lot. And you also get to see future content by me. You can also check out some of my other videos as well. And anyways, until the next one, see ya.